السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. السيدات والسادة، نرحب بكم في منصة تبادل المعرفة هنا في اليوم الختامي من مهرجان أبو ظبي العالمي لريادة الأعمال. معاكم عبد الله الخاجة، عريف حفل اليوم وباحث في مركز ترندز للبحوث والاستشارات. يشرفني أن أكون معكم اليوم. تركز جلسات اليوم على مرونة المؤسسة، بناء مطاعم قادرة على الاستمرار، ومنصات الأثر، وتمكين رائدات الأعمال في الإمارات. فلنبدأ جلستنا الأولى حول رفاهة المؤسس والمرونة الشخصية والوضوح الذهني المطلوبين للحفاظ على الأداء الريادي. نرحب بعالية نورو، أخصائية التحول الشامل والمؤلفة والمتحدثة الملهمة. We will now start the first session of today, titled Founder Wellness. Please let us welcome Alia Nouru to the stage to give her remarks. Thank you.
Thank you, Abdullah. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I want to start by asking a question. Is that okay? So the first question I want to ask is a little personal, but we're going to just get right in there. Have you ever felt like you're doing everything right? Like everything that you're supposed to do, you have the to-do lists, you have all the lists, the reading, you checked off every box, but still the things that you want are not going the way that you want them to go. Have you ever felt like that? Have you felt like you're just pushing and pushing and pushing, and the movement that you expect or want, or the growth that you want to see, the dreams that you have, they are so far away from reach, and no matter what you do, no matter how much you work on it, you still feel like you're just making slow inches towards that progress. And sometimes it's 2 steps in front and 1 step back. Have you ever felt like that? Okay, welcome to the life of a founder. Welcome to entrepreneurship. But the thing is that this is not just entrepreneurship. This is also to do with everything in life. How you do one thing is how you do everything. And when you see things in your life panning out, a lot of you will realize that when one thing is going wrong, a lot of other things are going wrong. But when one thing is going right, things around you start to get better as well. It's like a domino effect. And the thing that I want to talk to all of you here today is about creation, manifestation. Has anybody here heard of manifestation? Raise your hand, please. Yeah? Has anybody heard of the law of attraction? Yeah? Okay, thank you. Thank you for your honesty. Now you must be wondering, what is this girl in pink standing on stage at this corporate festival talking about the law of attraction and manifestation? It's really simple. Because you are the creator of your story. You are the scriptwriter, the producer, the director, and the actor in your story. And what we don't realize is we have so much say, and we can do so much in how the story pans out, and not through just the to-do lists or the tips that we find online. We can move so much with our internal energy. We can move so much with when we combine your mind, body, and soul. When your mind and your heart and your body and your energy and your emotions are all aligned and all focused on the thing that you want, and you allow yourself to be in that energy, in the vibration, the frequency of whatever it is that you're creating, no matter how big, no matter how crazy, no matter how unbelievable, that can happen so much faster, so much easier than we expect. Because what is the first thing we remember and think about when it comes to being a founder, being an entrepreneur? It's hard. You have to push. Every day is a battle. Every day is a new war. But what if it could be different? What if we could show up with more presence, in alignment with all of us, and what we want to do and the plans that we have to achieve in a year can be fulfilled in less than half the time? That things beyond your wildest imagination start happening. You've seen somebody, that lucky girl, that lucky man, who just things just pan out for them, right? Everything is just always going well. They apply for something, they get it. They want funding, they find it. They launch something, it's phenomenal, it's a breakthrough, everything's going perfectly. And you are doing so much more, but somehow, for some reason, you don't have that luck. But that stroke of luck, it may feel like an external thing that's dealt to you, but really, it is the energy, the belief that you show up with for yourself, for your dream, in your knowing that you are worthy, that you have the power, the capability to attract and create and manifest whatever it is that you want. When we talk about manifestation, it feels so out there. It feels like these girls on TikTok and Instagram talking about all of these methods and how to manifest a soulmate. But it's so much beyond that. Manifestation is in the every single day. This is you, all of you sitting here is a manifestation today. Me standing on the stage, manifestation. In fact, we are living in one of the greatest manifestations of our time, the UAE. Who did this start with? It started with Sheikh Zayed and his vision beyond his time, beyond his environment. And today, millions of us are sitting, living, breathing, thriving in his manifestation, something that he saw and created well beyond what was around him. Now, before I get further into this, I'm going to explain the science. I'm going to explain why I'm talking about manifestation. But before we get into it, is it okay if I tell you a little bit more about myself? Okay. My name is Alia Nuru. I was born in England, grew up in Malawi. I actually studied at AUS in Sharjah, and then moved back to England, but Dubai, the UAE, was always home. I always knew I wanted to come back. And I didn't know how, because I didn't want to work in the job that I had. I didn't like the life that I was living, even though I had what people would say a picture-perfect life. If you looked from the outside in, beautiful home in the countryside, amazing job, perfect family, but inside something was wrong, something was off, and I felt bad for even questioning, because I felt like I just need to be grateful. I have so much. Why am I so upset? Why am I so sad? But what I now realize, that these feelings that you have within you, inside you, these internal nudges, that's your soul's voice. That's your intuition, your gut, your soul talking to you and telling you something is off here. Something is wrong, and it doesn't matter what it looks like from the outside. It doesn't matter what checklist you have. You know, you have the money, the car, the house, everything that people have on their vision boards, you're living in it. But if you don't feel good inside yourself, if your heart is not content when you go to sleep at night, you know that there's something here. And that's when I went deeper into my spiritual journey. I went deeper into trying to understand the deeper meaning behind what the universe, what God has in store for us, what He's actually trying to tell us and saying. There's so much depth in understanding all of that. There's no way I could even cover even 1% today. But what I do want all of you to take away today is how you can implement manifestation, but also later on, a little secret to why it's not just another to-do list. It's something we need to embody and something that is needed for you to regulate your nervous system before you get into understanding how manifestation can actually stay with you long term. Because it's easy to manifest, oh, I'm feeling like I want some water, or I want this contract to be done, and it's done. But what about the bigger things? What about the long-term things? What about the dreams that seem so far away, and sometimes they come up, those visions that you have that come up, and you think, that sounds amazing and it feels good to think about it, but it's so far off right now. I can't even imagine being there right now. And sometimes we shut them off. We shut them off because those dreams feel so good and they're so big and they're so scary, but we just feel like it's not safe. We feel like somewhere deep inside there's some subconscious beliefs that we are not worthy. So when I was living this picture perfect life in the UK, in Leicester, I started moving more into spirituality and manifestation. And I learned everything I could about the law of attraction, about manifestation, about how it ties into religion. I grew up Muslim, and so there's a lot of stuff out there, there's misinformation, and I was trying to understand how this all ties into my beliefs, and not just mine, everybody's beliefs. So I first started tying it into Islam, and then I started moving into, okay, wait, there's so much. This is the same thing as Christianity and Judaism and Buddhism, and realizing that all of these religions, all of these spiritual beliefs, all of these ways of living, they have so many core similar messages. In fact, some of them are exactly the same. And so I started going and moving deeper into these messages. And after learning manifestation, after being the CEO of a personal development company for such a long time in England, I realized one thing, that I can teach manifestation all I want. It's really easy. It's just a formula. When you break this formula down, it's a way of living. But people were not ready, or people didn't even know what they wanted when it came to manifestation, because your whole life you've grown up and you've been told what is success, right? So this is that checklist that you have, the checklist that I was living in. You need to have this car and this house and be married to this person from this family, and after that, if you get a job that pays this much, then you have children, then you can upgrade to a better house. That's it. Your life's written for you. That's what success is. That's what we need to achieve. And once you've achieved that, done, sorted. But that's not the reality of the situation. The reality is every single person in here, every single one of you has come with your own unique purpose. And this purpose doesn't have to be some big thing, but all of you have your own path in this life. And it is for you to allow that path to unfold, but as it unfolds, also create along the way. We are living in such a beautiful time in history, even though sometimes it doesn't feel like it. But we are the most empowered we have ever been. We have the most resources we could ever possibly have. And yet, it feels like there's something missing. It's something missing, something greater, something deeper, something that feels vital to humanity. Our empathy, our deeper connection, not just to others, not just to what we're doing, but to ourselves, to our vision, our purpose, what it is that we're here to do. So many of us are moving through life thinking, believing that this is what is panned out for our life and this is what we need to do and this is how it's going to go. Otherwise, I have failed. But that's not the way it works. There's no exam that you need to fill out and pass so that life comes across and you say, okay, you've passed the test, you've won in life. It doesn't work like that. Moving back into manifestation and nervous system regulation, when it comes to you co-creating your reality with God, with the universe, so much of what we create, so much of what we've been through in life are these subconscious beliefs that we've picked up our whole life. You have to do this, you have to be like this, and even different traumas that have happened, things we've picked up from our parents. Your father was one particular way, your mother is a particular way. We inherit things from our ancestors, from our ancestry, the line, our lineage. And we don't realize that so much of us is actually a repetition of them in a more modern version, in a more modern time. And you have the power to actually step back a moment and say, you know what, I can take all the good things from here, but we don't realize how much of our environment, our upbringing, our trauma is affecting our daily decisions, is our mind. You know, the voice in your head, you think that that's your mind. Is it? Is that really your mind, the voice in your head? It's not. Your mind is a combination of who you grew up with, how you grew up, what was said to you, your environment, the media you consumed, the people around you, the beliefs that you were taught, and today it's the constant scrolling and information. Have you ever just been driving and some random Instagram or TikTok song is playing in your head? Yeah? You didn't choose for that to play in your head, but that's how most of our mind works 24/7. It's just going on and on and on. And guess what? None of those thoughts are originally yours. At least most of them aren't. But we think that voice in your head, the monkey mind, is who you are. But it's not. And this is where healing and manifestation and regulation comes in. Because when you just move straight into manifestation and say, okay, this is what I'm going to create, at this point, you don't know who you are yet. You don't know what you want. You don't know what subconscious beliefs, thoughts are running your system, your mind. And you're using all of that information to go on and create and wonder why nothing's happening. Because none of it is aligned. The mind is in one place, the heart is in another, your purpose is somewhere else, and your mind that is creating and running your life on autopilot, you're just going and going and wondering, why is nothing moving the way that I want it to move? How do we create? We create with our thoughts, our actions, our words, our speak. Everything is energy, right? I'm going straight into science talk. If you are more interested in this, please check out Dr. Joe Dispenza, Dr. Bruce Newton, Dr. Bruce Lipton. All of them have done peer-reviewed mass scientific studies talking about how manifestation is scientific. And so, how exactly do you manifest? Does anybody know? No? Okay. So, first you ask, right? You want something. Actually, wait. Let me go into energy. So everything is energy. Every single thing. This chair you see is energy. Your hand is energy. The thoughts you have are energy. And everything is moving. Even though we can't see it, everything is vibrating at a speed that we can't see. This is basics we learned in school, right? Solid, liquid, gas. It's all energy. It's all the same thing, but the particles are just closer packed together. And that's why when you look at ice, you can pick it up and it's a solid object. But when you look at water, when you look at steam, they're completely different. One is gas and one is water. Right? And so the same thing with our thoughts and emotions. It's all energy. And these thoughts and emotions have frequencies. So when you're thinking, oh my God, I don't want to get in trouble, I don't want to get in trouble, I don't want to get in trouble, I don't want to be late, please don't be there's no stoplight, red light, and what happens? You get a red light. What happens? You get in trouble. What happens? You get late. Right? Because that is the thoughts that you're thinking. That is the words that you are saying. That is the frequency that you are sending out. And you are using this power you have, the power of your thoughts, your mind, your emotions, this frequency that's within you to create. And instead of taking control of our minds, instead of becoming aware of the awareness, the observer behind the monkey mind, behind all these thoughts, we instead allow it to take over and run us. But when we move into a state where we realize what our subconscious, what are things that are holding us back, and it can start with very small things like journaling, starting to become aware when you're not talking to anyone, when you're sitting, what are the thoughts running in your head? What are the thoughts running on autopilot? They're usually not thoughts you'd like to think, especially if you have anxiety or if you struggle with any kind of mental health issues. Those are the things that cause these physical reactions in the body. The same way stress is energy. Stress is what? It's an emotion. Can you see it? No. Can you feel it? No. But when you're going through it, in that moment, can you measure it? No. But you see the physical effects on the body. Stress is one of the highest causes of heart attacks. And in men, especially in the US, that is the leading cause of death in men. Stress, heart attacks, death. Now I know this is a little dark, but the reason I'm talking about this is I'm showing that this is something that all of us know and understand. This is something that's a figure that's out there, but I'm explaining stress is an emotion that you can't feel or touch, but you see that today it's responsible for the death of most men. And so the same way when it comes to stress as something you can't see, every single emotion you have that you can't see or touch, those emotions are driving forces in your health. The good thoughts in your mind, even when you force them, even when you start to think positively, force yourself into thinking it. Force yourself into changing the voice in your head and what it is saying to you. You start to change the biology in your body. You start to change what is happening, the frequency of what is happening around you. When you believe that you are lucky, that you are blessed, that you are grateful, this is where the studies came in that tied in with religion and Islam when I grew up, because I'm just like, wait a minute, every single thing I'm learning, whether it's from a science perspective, whether it's from a spirituality perspective, all of this was said to us thousands of years ago. All of it, right? Gratitude, it says in all religious books, you should be grateful. It's part of the religion. Gratitude is such an essential part. And when you're sitting in gratitude, again, you shift your frequency. When you're sitting in a high vibration, positive thoughts, you are changing the reality around you. That is co-creation with your reality. And you will start to notice that when you feel better, when your emotions, when your thoughts, when your heart, everything is aligned into one thing, things start to flow so much better. Because every single one of those things has a frequency, and that frequency is what is being sent out all around you, which is sitting in your body, is sending out, and in that frequency that you are sitting, you can literally manifest miracles. And I have done it. So many of my clients have done it, and thousands of people around the world have done it. You have probably heard of it. Have you ever heard of a dua being made, of a prayer being made, and a miracle that happens? Or a doctor says that this is not possible, and this person has 3 months to live, and 30 years on, they're still alive. Those are miracles that happen every single day, and they don't just need to happen in the medical department or once in a lifetime to that person, and maybe if I'm lucky, one day it can happen to me. This is something that can be created. This is something that you can align into the frequency of. That's where the formula comes into play, where you ask and then you believe There's a lot of Muslims here, so I'm going to use the analogy that I grew up with in the Quran. It says, kun fayakun, right? Be and it is. That when you move deeper into the deeper understanding of these words that are being said to us, it's not just about, this is God literally saying, if I just have to say be, and it is. Right? When you ask for something, it is given to you. It's done. It's all created. But are you letting it in? Do you really believe it's going to happen? Or do we sit down in prayer and we ask for something, and then you go back to the stress, you go back to the complaining, you go back to when is this going to happen? And you ask the same prayer over and over and over and over and over again, and think you just need to pray harder and do more. But really all you need to do is believe. You need to know that whatever it is that you want, the thing that you want in your heart, the thing that's trying to come through you, that is the thing that is meant for you. And you have the capability to align with it, not just when it comes to medical or friends or relationships, but with work, with your businesses, with your passions, with your creativity. Our creativity, our mind, these are God-given gifts. They are given to us for a reason, so we can go out there, we can create, and it's not meant to be a constant uphill battle. It can be fun. It can be easy. That doesn't mean you're never going to have struggles and it's never going to be hard, because that's what helps you grow, that's what helps you expand. But it can also be fun. And it can be easy, so much easier, if you take the time to go into yourself, to reflect on what frequency, what energy you are in. And I've tried this across all aspects of life, with relationships, friendships, family affairs, work, medical stuff, healing, all of it. And it works across the board. And it's worked for millennia. And we've had these secrets handed to us, but we just don't see them because we don't connect the dots. We look at everything again as what? A list of things to do, a to-do list. Okay, this side is prayer and God and religion, and so I have to do this for these things. And then this side is family, and I have to do, it's all the same thing, it's all one. It's how you show up every single day, how you think, how you feel, how you move, how you talk, how you speak. Whatever it is that you say, you are creating as you move. You are creating everything that you say, everything that you feel, everything that you believe. And so my question to you is, what is your story? And how are you creating that path for yourself? What are you saying every single day? Are you speaking life into it? Are you speaking God into it? Are you speaking love and light and energy and miracles into your dreams, into your lives, into your relationships, into your work? Or do you really still feel like you are alone in this? And maybe one day something will happen, or one prayer will be answered. That's not the way we're meant to live. And so I hope I inspired just a little bit of something, maybe switched on a little light bulb, because this is literally what I spend my life doing. I've left everything else, and I'm so passionate about this. And I can go on and on and on and on. And we don't obviously have enough time to do that. But really quickly, before I finish, I wanted to talk about our old belief systems, the stuff that we have that's in our mind, the stuff that we grew up with, the stuff that we've taken in. Something happens in a relationship, you get hurt, and you believe, oh, this is my fault. You start a business and it fails, and you think it's just me that's unworthy of this. You go get a job, and at your job, your boss screams at you in front of everyone, and that shame, that resentment, that anger, that sadness, it stays inside you. We are emotional beings. All of these emotions you've been through your whole life. And scientifically, actually, also your parents' emotions. So imagine what they went through. all of those emotions are in your body. And if you don't allow yourself to release them, to rewire the thoughts in your mind, and it takes a while. It takes a while from moving to, maybe I'm not worth this, and I don't know if I can do this, and I don't know if this is really for me. I'm a woman, I'm this, I'm that, I don't have funding, all of these excuses that come up, versus when you look in the mirror, when you go out there knowing, believing, and saying, I am worth this, I can do this. If anybody can do it, it's me. And so, what I do, what I specialize in, is, yes, manifestation, which is so exciting and such an important part of creation. But before that comes healing. It comes nervous system regulation. Because we can say something all you want. You can look in the mirror and try an affirmation, but your brain is not going to believe it in that moment. Which is why it is so important, especially as an entrepreneur, especially as a founder, someone who's creating a vision, putting a seed out into the world, where you're going to have a team, where you're going to be a leader. It is your job to first pour into yourself, to know who you are, what it is that you really want, to believe in yourself and to release everything, all the subconscious blocks, all the trapped emotions, to release all of that stuff. And then when you're clear and empty, you can start to rewire, you can teach yourself, because we're unlearning everything that we learned as a child. So now you're rewiring and teaching your brain again that you are worthy and that you are amazing and that you are smart and you can do this. And this rewiring that happens over and over time, you start to see that belief manifest that into reality. And not just do you start to change your own life, you start to see what your words, what your energy, your intentions, your frequency can do for others too. And when you create a team like that for your startup, everybody, all startups eventually, when you want to scale and expand, you're going to need to have staff, you're going to have a team. And you are going to be the leader. So what kind of leader are you going to be? A leader that knows itself, a leader whose nervous system is regulated, that doesn't lose their calm every single day, that doesn't scare their team, but instead inspires them, shifts them, expands them, grows them, and so in turn grows your business, grows your vision, your seed that you're putting out into the world, into a big, beautiful, healthy tree, bigger than your wildest imagination. That all starts with you. And so this afternoon, I'm going to be holding a workshop on nervous system regulation. I'm going to go a little deeper into it to explain exactly what it is, how it affects us, where it is in the body, and how we can regulate ourselves to show up better at work, in life, in our relationships, and for ourselves. And that's all for today. If you have any questions, I'd love to take any questions. Is there any questions in the crowd before we finish? Yes. Oh. You can scream too.
No, I cannot. Thanks, Alia, for giving this interesting session. In fact, it's very important, and we really need it. I picked some points during your sessions, which are really came in my mind about like the stresses and how can we pass it, overtaking it, and moving forward. In fact, those kind of stresses, like you mentioned, creating some diseases, some impacts, some maybe family relations troubles because of those stresses. We face it. Everybody's facing it. Regarding the health, nowadays, like the diabetes, they are resolving it by building walking tracks, cycling tracks, to reduce the diabetes diseases. Regarding stresses as well, stresses are harming the performance at work, harming the health, which are pressurizing the medical care for those people who are stressed. So if we will convert that into a dollar sign in terms of resolving the stresses would reduce the cost for the medical care. By that way, and we come out with a figure where we are resolving and how much we are benefiting out of that. So this is one point. The other point you talk about is very important, and it's really important to go into the thoughts of everybody about the relations. I saw it during my travels around the world to many places. Those people who are living in environments that are missing the family-oriented, flavors, I can say it. They are really living in an emptiness feeling, They don't have people to return back to them, to talk to them, to share their thoughts. So it's an empty feeling, The souls need to be filled. You mentioned the religion things, meditation, we can say, to go back to talk to the God, whatever the religion is. So those are important things. Anyway, those are the thoughts that came in my mind to share it with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for sharing. And Mr. What did you say your name was?
My name is Hussein Al-Hashmi.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hashmi. Both of these things actually connect back to each other. So very, very well points made. But I want to ask a question really quickly. Have you ever seen someone that's insanely fit, probably six-pack, big biceps, is educated, maybe a doctor, but that person is so stressed out or unhappy in life? Is that possible?
Something's missing.
Yeah, something's missing,
Yeah.
exactly. So this is the world that we're living in today. A few decades ago, what really came up was education. So schools became mandatory and universities started popping up everywhere, and it became a lot more normalized than our grandparents to, and even for us, some from us, even our parents, to go to university, to go to schools, to get an education and to go further. So you're training your mind. And this education really changes an integral part of you, right? And then we moved into health. You see now gyms popping up everywhere. People are watching their weight. All of these Weight Watcher programs and so many different types of classes are coming out. Yoga and dance and strength training and all of these things. And now it's become so normalized to take care of your physical health, right? But sometimes even those two things, in fact, most times, that is just two things out of the bigger equation. One thing that we've forgotten to take care of, that we've forgotten to manage, is our emotions, our stress levels, the stress, the internal things that we feel, because for such a long time it was looked at as weak, especially for men, and especially for men in like the Middle East, in Africa, where you were constantly told, don't cry, you're not a girl. Don't lose your, this is not what boys do. This is not how men act. And so do you see the correlation between men taking their emotions and stuffing it and stuffing it and stuffing, not allowing themselves to feel? And then comes what? Because it stays in the heart, it stays in the body. And if it stays there for so long, biggest rate of heart attacks and deaths. Because this is something that is not let out. Right? And that's where this healing, the holistic healing, the work that I do comes into play. To really go deep and remove all of these traumas, these trapped emotions, these subconscious beliefs that we're holding on to, and really release them so you're free to be yourself and to create who it is that you want to be. You know, if you see somebody that's like always negative and always talking down on people, or someone that has a short temper, you just naturally think this person has a short temper, he was born like that. But that's not true. That is a reaction to their environment, their upbringing, the traumas, the pain that they have inside themselves, and not knowing how to let it out safely. And when that is repeated over time, everything is energy. It starts with thoughts, and then those thoughts becomes action. That action becomes words. The words become behavior. Behavior repeated over and over again becomes your personality, and your personality repeated becomes your personal reality. So all of these neurons in your brain that you have been firing for pretty much your whole life, they've been formed, and you think this is who I am. But the thing is that you can change. You can shift that internal reality, and you can start to create the person that you want to be. I used to be incredibly short-tempered. I used to have anxiety, depression, so many things. Okay, I hope that answered your question. I can keep going on. I do. Abdullah, do we have time for one more question?
Unfortunately, we're going over
I'm
the
sorry,
time.
but you can come see me after. I'd be happy to respond. And I also have a nervous system workshop, so we're going to go deeper into this in the afternoon at 1:30. So I hope to see you all there. Thank you so much, and thank you all for being here. Your presence is lovely and so appreciated.